Kirk is demanding a speedy trial in the case against her husband's accused killer, Tyler Robinson, after she claims his defense team is delaying proceedings.
Forgive him.
You murdered my husband. I have to tell my daughter every day and explain to her why daddy's not coming home.
The defense team is stalling proceedings every single day. It's something fresh with Erika Kirk. And the latest thing that's blowing up is this footage displaying Erika and her mother, Lori, celebrating with a man who appears strikingly similar to Tyler Robinson, the man accused of eliminating Charlie Kirk. Now here's where things start to register interesting. Shortly after this footage started circulating online, Erika filed a motion requesting a speedy trial in the case against Tyler. But hold up, didn't Erika publicly forgive Tyler just days after the incident? So why is she pushing for a speedy trial for a man she's forgiven? And how about her completely ignoring her husband's request for an audit of TPUSA finances? Now, and another thing viewers keep highlighting is that speedy trial rights don't belong to victims. They belong to the defendant under Utah law and the U.S. Constitution. Only the accused can demand or waive a speedy trial. Victims can't legally control the timeline, so why is Erika making a move that isn't even hers to make? Could this be another attempt to redirect people's attention from all the sketchy stuff TPUSA has been accused of? Because the faster they find Tyler Robinson guilty, the easier it will be for Erika to declare, "Don't look any further and don't ask questions about TPUSA." But then there's that footage. If the man celebrating with Erika's mother genuinely is Tyler Robinson, why would he be anywhere near the family? Is Tyler just another actor in a psyop? And if that's the case, how deep does this connection extend between Erika's family and the individuals involved in Charlie's situation?
This driver. You're the driver?
Yep.
Robinson. Can you tell me just really quick what happened?
I was coming this way and he's just passing through and he rolled out from here, or no, from there, I think.
Do you remember which lane you were in?
I was in one of those two lanes going this way. I think in the rightmost lane coming this way.
Yeah, well, nobody's buying that component. There's definitely more to the narrative, and you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to see that the official storyline doesn't add up. And now it just got even stranger. An old footage from Erika's Instagram just leaked where she's observed celebrating New Year's in 2018 with her mom, Lori Francie, and an unidentified man who appears a lot like Tyler Robinson. Now, to be transparent, there's no proof that this genuinely is Tyler, but the resemblance is uncanny. Also, what makes it unlikely that this is Tyler is the reality that Tyler was born in 2003, so he would have been only 15 in 2018. And then some sources are declaring the man in the footage is actually Erika's ex-boyfriend, Ben Cabot Phillips. Either way, since most viewers now firmly believe that Tyler Robinson is just a patsy, it raises the question of how he was chosen for this role. Did he have any connection to Erika's family or TPUSA? Well, the little we understand about Tyler doesn't exactly line up with the profile of someone capable of pulling off that kind of situation. A body cam footage from 2022 recently resurfaced, and Tyler sounds very different from the image being pushed. Now he sounds awkward, kind of goofy, uncomfortable, like someone with social difficulties who doesn't exactly project confidence, calculation, or control. So now you got numerous folks declaring that Tyler appears and sounds like the perfect type of individual to indoctrinate and utilize as the patsy. The footage displays him fumbling over his words, seeming genuinely confused about what's happening around him, and displaying none of the characteristics you'd expect from someone allegedly capable of executing such a precise operation. Viewers who've analyzed the footage are highlighting specific moments where Tyler appears almost childlike in his responses to authority figures. He's not defiant, he's not calculating, he's just confused. His body language screams lost rather than dangerous. His speech patterns suggest someone who struggles with social cues, not someone who could allegedly plan and execute what they're accusing him of. And here's what's genuinely got viewers discussing. If you compare Tyler's demeanor in that body cam footage to the profile being painted of him as this calculated individual, the pieces just don't fit. One specialist who analyzed the footage declared Tyler presents as someone who would be extremely easy to manipulate, particularly if approached by authority figures or individuals he perceived as mentors or friends. The gap between who Tyler appears to be and who he'd need to be to pull off what he's accused of is massive. We're discussing someone who allegedly executed a precision operation, yet can barely string together a coherent sentence when confronted by law enforcement about a minor incident. The cognitive dissonance is real. Now let's discuss how Erika is suddenly attempting to get this alleged patsy locked away forever or placed on death row. The same man she forgave just 2 days after he supposedly eliminated her husband. Erika declared, "That man, that young man, I forgive him." So Erika forgave Tyler. But now she all of a sudden decided to file a motion for a speedy trial and accused Tyler Robinson's defense team of delaying proceedings. Oh, and by the way, you know what lawyer Erika picked to represent her in this case? Jeffrey Neiman, the same attorney who defended Alex Acosta when he gave Jeffrey Epstein that sweetheart plea deal. Now let that sink in for a minute. Out of all the lawyers she could have chosen, she went with the one who has a history of representing individuals involved in some seriously questionable cases.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
The optics alone are terrible. Viewers online immediately started connecting the dots, asking why someone who claims to want justice would hire a lawyer known for helping powerful individuals avoid accountability. Is it because she knows there's more to this narrative than what's being told? Is it because she needs someone who specializes in making inconvenient truths disappear? And here's another thing. Neiman isn't cheap. His services come with a hefty price tag, which raises questions about where that money's coming from. Is it TPUSA funds? Is it donations meant for Charlie's legacy? The lack of transparency around who's paying for what is just adding more smoke to an already blazing fire. Now, here's the thing about Erika's motion for speedy trial. Under the law, victims don't get to demand a speedy trial. That's a right reserved for the accused. So in this case, only Tyler Robinson can push to speed things up or slow things down. So what is Erika's motion genuinely about? Well, you gotta examine it this way. A fast trial isn't just a trial. It's a method to control the narrative. If the case moves fast, there's less time for lawyers to dig into evidence, less time for investigators to track down witnesses, and less time for anyone to find inconvenient truths. Think about it.
The devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, my incredible husband at UVU, Caleb has persisted with the same grit. It has been a long day. Trust me, you're not a grifter, honey. It's all good.
In a rushed trial, the defense barely has time to prepare. They can't thoroughly investigate alternate theories. They can't track down witnesses who might contradict the official narrative. They can't hire specialists to analyze forensic evidence properly. It becomes a race against the clock where the prosecution has all the advantages because they've had months to prepare while the defense is scrambling. Meanwhile, a slow case is dangerous for anyone with something to hide. Leaks can happen, whistleblowers can suddenly show up, paper trails can get exposed. Now, documents that were supposed to stay buried have a way of surfacing when there's time for thorough investigation. The longer a case drags on, the more opportunities there are for cracks to appear in whatever official narrative is being pushed. Witnesses have time to come forward. Journalists have time to dig. Independent investigators have time to connect dots that powerful individuals would rather keep separated. So time is a risk for Erika and TPUSA, especially knowing that Erika's motion comes amid increased pressure on her to honor Charlie's wish for an audit into TPUSA's finances. And while Erika is ignoring her husband's wish for an audit, internet users and independent financial specialists are doing the digging for her. And what they uncovered about TPUSA finances is even sketchier than we suspected. Ex-user. The Parzival did in-depth research into all this, and he discovered that TPUSA is allegedly operating like a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme.
My name is Joshua Peterson. I worked for Turning Point USA and Turning Point USA Faith, and I knew Charlie Kirk personally. I want to say on the record that there was a inner circle at Turning Point USA that was constantly working against Charlie and his interests and what he wanted to do, as well as there was a Jewish influence in Turning Point that he was not very fond of, that he wanted to get rid of. He tried doing this, he tried creating a Doge department, and he gets assassinated. Another thing that makes me believe this inner circle was constantly working against Charlie was because of the fact that he had a whole entire branch of Turning Point that he had no idea about, and that was the stock market branch. Now, the thing about this branch is it's been getting millions of dollars poured into it over the past 4 years now, and that's been seen through their latest tax returns. This stock market group that Turning Point has been throwing millions of dollars into the stock market for the past 4 years now, and Charlie Kirk had no knowledge of that whatsoever. Now, if you also look into it a little bit deeper, if you look at the staff on that branch specifically, it says zero. It says there's nobody employed in that branch, yet they're pouring $5 million into funds for employees. Make it make sense. That sounds like money laundering to me. It sounds like there's some pyramid scheme going on behind the scenes at Turning Point that Charlie did not know about originally, and I think that he was planning to expose that, and that's ultimately what got him.
According to his research, of the $8.5 million in revenue, around $5.2 million of that went to pay just salaries alone. And another $2.5 million was utilized for their conference events. So TPUSA was basically paying themselves to promote themselves, throwing events for themselves, and utilizing those events to promote themselves even more. Nobody was actually purchasing tickets. The speakers would just show up to spew their propaganda and attempt to get more public support. But the genuine goal was almost always the same: money. The whole operation appears less like a genuine political movement and more like a cash grab disguised as activism. I'm breaking down those numbers even further reveals just how wild this genuinely is. Out of every dollar that came into TPUSA, roughly 61 cents went straight to salaries. That means more than half of all their revenue was just paying the individuals running the operation. Another 29 cents went to hosting events that were supposed to be promoting their cause but were genuinely just promotional vehicles for the organization itself. That leaves maybe 10 cents on the dollar actually going toward whatever their stated mission is supposed to be. And even that's generous, because nobody's quite sure what TPUSA's actual mission is beyond enriching the individuals at the top and creating the appearance of influence. So this begs the question, what does TPUSA actually do to advance the conservative movement? Because from the appearance of it, the only individuals benefiting are the individuals running it. And we're not discussing small perks. Some of them are pulling six-figure salaries while the so-called movement they claim to support barely sees any genuine results. Let's put some names and numbers to this. Multiple executives at TPUSA were reportedly making between $200,000 and $400,000 annually. For what exactly? Posting on social platforms? Showing up at conferences? Flying around the country to give speeches that don't actually change anything? The ROI for conservative causes is basically zero, but the ROI for their personal bank accounts is looking pretty sweet. And here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Some of these high-paid positions went to individuals with questionable qualifications. Not seasoned political operatives or movement builders, but friends, mosh family connections, and individuals who happen to be in the right place at the right time. It's starting to appear less like a meritocracy and more like a social club where the admission fee is loyalty and the benefits package is generous.
No, but Egyptian
Do you
plates.
believe that Tyler Robinson murdered your husband?
Yes, I do. Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's.
Maybe that Freudian slip Erika made at AM Fest wasn't a slip at all. You know the one, where she seemed to accidentally reveal more than she intended about how things genuinely work behind the scenarios. Viewers brushed it off at the time, but now, in light of all these financial revelations, that slip is appearing a whole lot more like truth accidentally breaking through the carefully constructed facade. Now, here's another sketchy detail. The Parsible uncovered about TPUSA's finances. It's not just that they were double-dipping revenue. Turns out they've got almost all their assets tied up in publicly traded securities. Their 990 form displays $63 million in stocks, which represents about 90% of everything they own. And that was before their most recent statement, which now claims $69 million in assets, so it's probably even higher. And it gets worse. Think about what this means. A supposedly grassroots political organization has 90% of its assets in the stock market. Not in property, not in equipment, not in resources to actually advance their stated mission. In stocks, they're essentially running a hedge fund with a political organization as a front. And who's managing these investments? Who's making the decisions about where to position that money? Who's benefiting when those stocks perform well? These are all questions that an audit would answer. Which is probably exactly why Erika is so desperate to avoid one. An ex-TPUSA employee came forward and confirmed exactly this. He discussed how the organization's money was handled, and his statements line up perfectly with what the financials display. And according to this whistleblower, Charlie had his suspicions about the money, but he had no idea there was an actual group inside his organization that was actively working against him. The whistleblower's testimony is chilling when you genuinely break it down. He described a two-tier system where Charlie was essentially kept in the dark about major financial decisions, while an inner circle made moves that would directly benefit themselves. Charlie would be out front, being the face of the organization, executing speeches, rallying the base, while behind the scenarios, others were playing a completely different game. This whistleblower declared Charlie started asking questions about 6 months before everything went down. He wanted to know why certain expenses seemed inflated. He wanted to understand why revenue wasn't translating into actual movement growth. He wanted access to detailed financial records that he was being told were too complex for him to review without professional help. And every time Charlie pushed for answers, he was met with resistance. They'd tell him he needed to focus on being the public face while they handled the boring financial stuff. They'd assure him everything was fine and that his concerns were unfounded. They'd redirect his attention to upcoming events or media appearances. Classic misdirection tactics. But one thing here that sticks out is when the whistleblower declares that Charlie didn't know about any of this. But how does that even happen? He's the president, so shouldn't he know where nearly 70 million of the organization's assets are positioned? So which is it? Did someone inside TPUSA move money and utilize Charlie's name without telling him? Or did Charlie actually know exactly what was materializing and was just attempting to stay in the shadows? Either way, it doesn't appear good, and it's exactly the kind of detail that makes viewers start asking questions about what else might be hidden behind the scenarios. If Charlie didn't know, that means there was a conspiracy within his own organization to keep him in the dark about massive financial decisions. Like, that's not just shady, that's potentially criminal, depending on what exactly was being hidden and why. It suggests a level of internal corruption that goes way beyond just poor management. But if Charlie did know and was pretending not to, that opens up an entirely different can of worms. Was he complicit in whatever schemes were being executed? Was he building plausible deniability? Was he planning to expose it all and that's why things went down the way they did? The implications are massive either way. And let's be real, this is the genuine reason Erika's in such a hurry for a speedy trial. She knows the public isn't buying for a second that Tyler Robinson did what they declare he did. In reality, most viewers are pointing the finger at TPUSA itself and their donors, and Erika is the new CEO of TPUSA. So she knows if viewers keep digging into all the messy stuff about the organization, like where the money goes, she won't be able to keep the donations rolling in for too much longer. The faster she can get this case wrapped up with a neat bow and Tyler locked away, the faster she can declare, case closed, move on, nothing to see here. But the internet isn't having it. Viewers are connecting dots faster than she can cover tracks. Every financial document that surfaces, every whistleblower that comes forward, every inconsistency in the official narrative, it all adds up to a picture that appears nothing like what we're being told. The donations are already starting to dry up as viewers realize their money wasn't going where they thought it was. Longtime supporters are demanding accountability. Major donors are quietly distancing themselves. The whole financial house of cards is wobbling, and Erika knows that if it falls, it's taking her down with it. And honestly, even if you're not sure about Tyler Robinson being a patsy, the official narrative is still full of holes. There are simply too many discrepancies, too many unanswered questions, too much evidence mishandled, destroyed, ignored, or disappeared. To accept what we've been told goes against all common sense. The timeline doesn't make sense. The motive doesn't make sense. The means don't match Tyler's profile. The opportunity seems almost too convenient. And the aftermath, with Erika's bizarre behavior, the financial revelations, the rushed push for trial, makes the whole thing reek of cover-up.